This week in a conversation, I have the privilege to welcome out of California, writer Kristy Mickelsen. We're going to be talking about her three interesting books, uh, A Christmas to Remember, Lady for Hire, and 9 Months to Autism. But before we get into this interesting video, I have to remind you every time, please subscribe to this channel. And if you do, don't forget to click the notification bell so that way every time a video is posted, it'll go directly into your portable. So let's get started. Okay. Again, my name is Ardain Isma, and I'm here this evening with a wonderful, impeccable, even prolific writer. I'm here with Kristy Mickelsen. We're going to be talking about her writing, specifically on her three interesting books, 9 Months to Autism, A Christmas to Remember, and Lady for Hire. Kristy, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Okay, but Kristy, would you please tell the viewers of CSMS Magazine, who is Kristy Mickelsen?
Well, first of all, hello, everyone. I am a 43-year-old wife and mother. I have two autistic young adult children named Josh and Cassie.
Okay.
I'm a housewife pretty much that makes her living by writing books, and hopefully I'm getting my name out there, and I hope people enjoy them and get a really good message from them.
And so that's what brings us to the first book. I didn't know if you were a mother of autistic children, and I can understand why you had the motivation to write a book like this, 9 Months of Autism. Could you please tell us a little bit of what autism really is and how a mother can actually struggle daily with children? I mean, emotionally, I'm talking about.
Okay. Basically, autism is a cognitive disability. Basically, it just means that they don't think the way that we do. Sometimes they think in pictures. So it's like they have a movie constantly playing in their head. So my children, basically, they need more instruction in daily life. Like my daughter has a very hard time taking showers by herself, learning to read. She's 21 years old and she reads at a kindergarten level, right, because it's so hard for her. My son is high functioning, which means he can do the normal daily things like take a shower and things like that. But he has a lot of sensory issues, basically. And when he was younger, he had a lot of rage. And so in order for him to get rid of the rage, I told him, you know what, when you feel that way, I'm sorry if anybody out there gets offended, but I told him, when you feel that way, talk to God and let God help you through,
right.
And he started becoming a very big Christian after that. And he takes his frustrations out now, and he watches wrestling, and then he talks to God, and that's his way of dealing with things. Where my daughter, I said, she's moderate severe and she has a harder time in life. So I have to basically help her in the shower. I have to color code things so that she can see, right, the black bottles for your hair and the pink bottles for your body, things like that. It's a really difficult thing for them to live with. And as a mother, it's very emotional to see them struggle the way they do.
Let me ask you a question here, because I know
Sure.
even in my own family, I do have relatives with children also autistic.
Okay.
So, and mostly at the younger age, they display just some pretty aggressive behavior.
Yes.
And I remember one of them, the behavior was so out of control that he had to seek really help from the state to provide a group home to place the child. So I can understand exactly the emotion, that's going into the heart and mind of the parent. So that's what led you to become a writer, Kristy?
Pretty much. My dad had cancer back in 2004.
Okay.
And I was one of his caregivers. And then my kids were young at the time, and they're, autistic. And like you said, they did have a lot of challenging behaviors back then.
What an emotional thing you have to go through too.
It's very emotional, especially when you have cancer and autism in the family at the same time.
Right.
So I would write journals just to get my feelings out and keep myself from crying at night, because I didn't know what to do or how to get my feelings out and everything. So I'd write journals. And then one day my son came in, he's all, "Mom, try it professionally." And I was like, "Oh, son, I just can't do that." And then, like I said, he's all, "Well, if you could give it up, I guess I could give up my dream." And I was like, "I'm not going to let that happen. So I guess I'm going to try writing a book." And it went from there. I honestly did not expect for books to sell. I honestly am not a professional writer. I do make mistakes. I'm learning, I'm growing, but you know what? It's something to keep me sane in my crazy life. So.
And I think that it's one of the most widely researched, also, whether if it's fiction or nonfiction when it comes to autism. A lot of people researching that, and a book on that should be able to trigger a lot of attention,
Yes.
Did you get that at the time of the publication?
I got a lot of people that were like, "I had never understood autism until you wrote it down in the book." And it did bring a lot of awareness, which I'm very, very thankful for, because that's something people need to know about. A lot of people, I feel bad, because a lot of autistics out there, they get a bad rep. And it's not because of what they're trying to do, it's who they are. They can't think the same way that we do. Let me tell you, a lot of them are very, very smart. They are very, very smart people. And people tend to think, "Oh, they're autistic, they're dumb." And let me tell you, that's just not true. So
is it fair to say that autism is not a cognitive impairment?
It is a cognitive impairment, although, how do I explain it? It's not that they're dumb. They are not dumb people. There's nobody in this world that's dumb. Everybody has some form of, strength to them. What it is I could sit here and talk to you back and forth and we understand each other. But say with my kids personally, they need to think in pictures. So like an example, my son recently tried his hand at wrestling, and he could pick up the moves when he would see the moves. But if he was just being told how to do it, he couldn't pick it up. He has to see it, and his brain works like a movie. So whenever he's trying to think, he's like, okay, I know this is in my head. I got to think back to that picture so that he understands it better. So like I said, it's a cognitive disability. They are very smart people. They just think in a different way. They don't understand verbal direction most of the time. They understand pictures.
Okay. So let's switch the subject and get into because I know that you say not only you write nonfiction, you write fiction based on your life experiences. You do write a book called A Christmas to Remember.
Yes.
And if I understand correctly, it's a love story.
Yes.
It's about Heather Montgomery, a widow of 6 years who has been going through the motions of daily life, but not actually living. Can you tell us that? How can you go through life, but not actually living? Can you just...
Okay, it's the play on words, I guess you can say. Basically, the book was actually written off the experiences of my mom when my dad died from cancer.
Okay.
So this book is a lot of the emotions based on what happens after a person dies from cancer.
Right.
And what happened with my mom is she went through a lot of depression after my dad died. They were together for 40 years. I mean, imagine being with your wife for 40 years and then all of a sudden she's just taken from you. So all of a sudden you're going through all this depression and you may be sitting here eating every day, but are you out living? I mean, are you out enjoying the fresh air? Are you out talking to people? Are you enjoying life? And that's kind of what the book is about. It's about how you could be sitting here and actually breathing and eating and living, but you're not enjoying life anymore.
Exactly.
And that's what happened with my mom when my dad died. And some of it's mixed with my own personal emotions and stuff. But a lot of it was she went through depression. And depression is something very, very hard on people. It's not
True.
a funny
True.
thing. It's
True.
something that tears at you. It eats at you. You lose weight. You get depressed. You cry. You think you're living to people. You think you're being wonderful to people, but they're like, wow, you need some help. And that's what the book's about. It's about finding yourself again. It's about finding how to live life again after the loss of a loved one with cancer. So it's a good book. I hope everybody checks it out. I'm going to be perfectly honest. In the first revision of this book, there was some formatting issues, but that is fixed in the print version now, but we are still trying to get it fixed in the ebook version. So if you check it out, please forgive any formatting issue because I am working on it. So
very good.
Thank you.
And the third book is probably a full-blown love story. Lady for Hire.
Yes.
And you know what? This one is so interesting. Sometimes love comes when you least expect it. This is supposed to be someone who's pretty much living out on the street, homeless, living in a car, until she meets this gentleman. And you would think that someone who's been living in the streets, literally, and this is the person you would fall in love with, but it happens. Could you please explain to us the power of love at this point?
Oh, wow, the power of love. Wow, the power of love is a big thing. I mean, you could be, like you said, in the book, Lady for Hire, Savannah was homeless. She had lost her home to a fire, and she lost her parents at the same time. So she was living out on the streets, and she applied for a job as a nanny for the guy that she's going to work for, Wade Sorensen. And he was an older gentleman, and she was like, I think it was 14 years younger. And they meet and all that, but there's something about him. There's something that just drew her to him. He could read her like a book. He was attractive. He was everything she ever wanted. And of course, he would fight his feelings for her, but he thought she was attractive too. But the power of love was like, you know what? Love conquers all. Love conquers age difference. Love conquers everything out there, from people saying, oh, he's no good for you. It doesn't matter. It's what your heart feels. So in Lady, go ahead.
So this brings us to a very important thing that you said here, Kristy. You say you believe that writing is a creative way to express many human emotions.
Yes.
That are sometimes hard to speak or to express. Emotions such as love, lust, hate, anger, joy, and sorrow, just to name a few. And this is so true.
It's very true.
A lot of times that there's a growing feeling, something that is boiling inside, and you find yourself in a very, very difficult situation. You just cannot express it. The last time a girl told me the biggest misfortune that can befall her is because God has put her on a path to love a man who will never be hers, and she was suffering.
Wow. Yeah, I don't even know what to say to that. All I know is, for me, writing for me, like, I have a very hard time. I'm having a hard time right now just talking to you in the video. I have a hard time expressing everything that I want to say. But when I write, I can put every single emotion into it, and people are drawn to that. They're like, oh my gosh, she gets what I'm feeling. oh my gosh, I went through that last year, type deal. So for me, writing is everything. You can say so much, and there's so much that words are powerful. Words are very powerful. They have the way to move you. They can hurt you. They can make you fall in love. They can make everything for you. So for me personally, writing is a wonderful way to get all those human emotions that are stuck inside of you out. So,
and of course, share them with the world.
exactly. I mean, believe it or not, a lot of people don't realize it, but the world needs to hear what you have to say most of the time.
Exactly.
The things that you have bottled up, like Lady for Hire, the girl was homeless. Well, at one time I was homeless, and it was something that hurt, and it was depressing, and I don't know how to explain it, but it was something that I had a very hard time with. So when I was writing it down, I was able to express how much I was tired of living in my car. Uh, I I don't know how to explain it, but words are powerful, and if you can write, please do, because the world needs to hear what you have to say. Everybody has a story inside of them.
So let me ask you something.
Sure.
I understand you have other work, other project, I would say. Could you please share with the readers a little bit? You don't have to say much, but just a sneak preview of some of the projects that you're currently working on, Kristy.
Right now, I'm actually working on a book called Boss Lady, which is the second part to Lady for Hire.
Okay.
It is actually about the little girl that Savannah, the character in Lady for Hire, had become the nanny to. And now the little girl is grown up and she takes over the business of Lady for Hire.
Okay.
So it's got some interesting twists coming to that.
Okay.
And it also is going to have a little bit of lupus awareness because I was recently diagnosed with lupus.
Okay.
And I like to advocate for all the things that I've had in my life, such as cancer experiences, autism, lupus. My grandmother had Alzheimer's disease and passed away from that.
Right.
So everything that I have dealt with in life, I like to advocate for. So right now I am going to be writing, like I said, The Boss Lady, which is going to have lupus awareness.
Okay.
I am going on book tour with an author named Kat Satava.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to be talking a little bit about our books, but also part of the money that I raise from the books that I sell, I'm going to donate to a little bit to autism awareness campaign.
Okay.
And also to cancer. I'm still trying to research which charity that I want to give to compared to, I'm not really big on Autism Speaks. There's a lot of bad things about Autism Speaks out there. So I want to see what autism charities are out there that I can donate some of those sales to, and to probably the City of Hope for cancer. I think so. Those are my projects right now.
Okay. Now, every time in a conversation, sometimes we stop talking about literature and we switch to something cozy. But we've been talking for the longest now, just because of the purpose of time. But, I wish I could talk to you for even through the 4 hours, because the things that you're telling us is so true. These are the things that really that many of us have to face in their daily lives.
Yes.
Really. I really would love to talk to you. Maybe sometime I have to invite you once more into the conversation to talk more about it.
Sure. I just want to apologize. Sometimes I get a little tongue-tied and everything. So I hope that I'm making sense to everybody. Like I said, I do my talking through writing mainly. So I hope you all can understand what I'm saying.
Okay, but let me ask you something here. I know you read, Kristy. Who you would consider as your favorite? The author or the writer who has inspired you the most?
Truthfully, I think that would be Danielle Steele, because she's very cultural. She's very diverse in her writing. She's not only romance, but she tells some really good stories, and she puts a lot of history in some of them, such as what was it? It was back in Vietnam. It was one of her books about Vietnam, and that gives you a lot of history. And she's recently wrote a book about World War II called Flying Angels. I personally love Danielle Steele. She has a lot of stuff in life that she can relate to, that I can relate to. She's a very excellent author out there.
And how about your favorite cuisine, for example? Because I know your mom.
I love my mom's food, but I am a very big person. I'm horrible at it. Panda Express.
Really?
I love Panda Express. It's my favorite food in the world. And actually, I need to cut back. I'm gaining some weight, but Panda Express is my favorite out there. And Mexican food. I love Mexican food.
You do? Okay. Me too. I love Mexican food. In my area, there's several of them. You know, I love the chips while you wait for the main dish.
Yes.
You have
Chips
to
and
dip into that in the
salsa.
sauce right here, huh?
My favorite too.
That's interesting. And Kristy, my last question, if there's
Sure.
a lesson that you have to give to professionals or people in general going through the same thing that you have been through, still going through, but also want to be a writer as you are, what lesson would you to express what lesson would you give?
Basically, I would say to trust yourself. Number one, everything, write what's in your heart. Don't worry about is it going to be perfect or anything like that, because you're going to have, even if you might write the most perfect book out there, you are going to have critics regardless. So write what's in your heart. And if you have a story inside of you, tell it, because the world needs to hear it. My main goal with writing is for people to know that somebody out there relates to them.
Mhm.
I have a lot of stories to tell about suicide, mental health, autism, cancer. Those are things that are inside of me that are aching to come out because
Right.
of everything that I've been through in life. So as a writer, telling a new person in writing, tell your story. Don't worry about being perfect, because perfect is not possible. It is not possible. Just tell your story and you will grow as you go.
With that, I'm just going to say it's been such a pleasure to
You
have
too.
writer, prolific writer, Kristy Mickelsen today or this evening in the conversation.
Thank you. I had a wonderful time and I hope to join you.